I stopped leveling up at 125 and I'm just doing invasions at 125. And what I noticed is that when it comes to that level, you either subscribe to the meta and do a bleed build, or you do your own thing and don't enjoy the invasions so much, because everybody's just pressing L2 when they find it hard. Like, do you see those Homo sapiens at their katanas? As soon as they saw that they do not do an insta 1k damage, they just pull out the bleed katanas and just press L2. But anyway, I'm using this faith build, which is like not optimized at all for PvP, because I have like 50 vigor and I put up most of my points on mind. I have 30 mind. And people would say that this is silly, but I would argue that it's really useful to have ranged options. And as you will see in my invasions, I do have a lot of ranged options to either spam my opponents away or just use incantations that will stop them from advancing towards me. So yeah, back to the invasion. I have this faith build which has 55 faith, and look at this. I'm out of Estus, right? I'm out of Crimson Tears, right? So what I do, I go back and I heal. And there's nothing they can do to stop me. And I don't know how many flasks they have, but I have 3 Cerulean Tears, and I find it that I can heal myself more times with Cerulean Tears if I just use the Lord's Heal. And that's why I have them that way. I have like 5, what is it? No, like 4. Yeah, I have 4 Crimson Tears and 3 Cerulean Tears, and that's it, because I use the Crimson Tears to heal only when I'm in combat and I cannot get away. And when I want to annoy people, I just use the S-Stock with the Bloodhound step and just dodge away, because there's a lot of bleed. There's a lot of bleed on at 125. And when I see somebody who's alone and I want to pressure them and deal some damage to them, I will just take my halberd out and just pressure them with the halberd. Most invasions are 2v1s, most invasions, I'm sorry, are 3v1s. There is an occasional 2v1, but you know, then a hunter comes and it's just a 3v1 all over again. The main objective of the invaders so far is to just drain them from their FP and just have more FP than them, and just spam the Bloodhound step and wait for them for their flasks to finish. And when their flasks are finished and you're done kiting them, then apply the pressure, as you'll see now. I'll take out my halberd. I use Stomp because it allows me to combo, and it's really useful in terms of breaking poise. Not always, but it's really useful in terms of breaking poise. So I just use the halberd because it has a really good roll catch potential, and the timings are the same from DS3, so I just use that. The other reason I use the faith build is because I have a lot of spells. I really like using all of my spells. I'm gonna use Stomp right now, and then Wrath of the Gods, Wrath of Gold, whatever it's called. You won't see it, but I will hit the host who's left of me. If they panic roll after the Stomp, you can hit them with the Wrath of Gold, as long as you use the talisman that allows you to cast incantations and spells faster, right? So I use this build because I like having a lot of ranged options and a lot of ways to apply pressure to my opponents. And since that, I noticed that the meta revolves, the game revolves around weapon arts and spells, and mainly ranged and zoning options. There's a lot of zoning in this game. I decided to have a caster build, but I didn't go for sorcerer because I really dislike the way you have to play as a sorcerer. I don't enjoy it at all. So I just decided to do faith because, you know, what's more badass than throwing thunder out of your arms, right? So what's this? I just buff the enemies. If you activate Mog's Great Rune before invading, and with a rune arc, when you invade, you will get 3 Phantom Great Runes, which is basically a PvE buff. You buff the PvE the mobs, and they do a shit ton of damage to your enemies. You can use it up to 3 times, but it's alright. It just debuffs you a bit, like, I don't know, is it like 3 or 5% or something? And I think it's a fair trade if you need to use it in a moment that you really need to do it. Some people would argue that it's not so good, but I don't know, it's helped me a lot in many occasions in order to, survive the gank. So yeah, that's what I did. I just used the buff, and the Clean Rot Knights just did all the job for me. So another thing that I found is at the mountaintops of giants, I found the Crimson Bubble Tier, I think it's called, and what it does, it converts non-physical damage you take into health. It doesn't last long, or it has a damage cap, I think, but as soon as you pop that physic, any elemental damage you take will convert to health. So it's I had a lot of problem with sorcerers at the start of the game because they have a lot of damaging spells and a lot of ranged options, and it's really difficult to get close to them. But with this mixed physic, you have like one chance to run them down and just apply pressure to them. And that's what I do. Just use the mixed physic when I see a sorcerer and just try to kill them as fast as I can. And I found that most of them are not really familiar with roll cutting and panic rolling, so they just spam roll. And that's mainly because they lack an understanding of the fundamentals of the game, which is like spacing, trying to whiff punish, try to attack, try not to panic roll because you'll get a roll cut. But everybody panic rolls from time to time, right? So it's not something that can be avoided. But I mean, if you're gonna have like 30 vigor, you should learn how not to panic roll and how to react. So this is the only advantage the invaders have at the moment. I mean, besides the PV and whatever, the main advantage of the invaders at the moment is that they have a better understanding of the combat of the game, in my opinion at least, because this is the same thing that happened with DS3. Like, everybody was invading in Gang City, and there were a lot of gankers there in the early days, and most of those gankers had absolutely no idea what they were doing. I mean, they knew how to rush R1 and how to try to roll cuts, but they had no idea about spacing, whiff punishing, pseudo combos and stuff. So the invaders had to adapt to fighting 3 enemies at a time, or sometimes 4 enemies at a time. And that's what made invaders better in DS3 with time, and not everyone. You get the occasional dumb Aldrich from time to time in DS3, but this isn't DS3, this is Elden Ring. And what I noticed is that the main reason that you can lose invasions here is because the enemy pressed L2 more times than you did. And this is good, I think. I really do believe this is good, because if the only thing they can do is press L2, if the only type of combat they recognize is just spamming L2, then it's good, because because first, it drains their FP, right? Second, they have no idea how to actually pressure you in combat, because the only thing they can do is press L2. And thirdly, the fundamentals. They do not understand the fundamentals of the combat. So if you're invading and you're getting 3v1s and everybody's having their bleed build out and they're just spamming L2, there's no reason to feel that bad, because you can evolve from that, you can learn from that, and there's no reason to be bitching about it, right? So you have to think of it like, draining them out one by one, and luring them out and trying to annoy them as much as humanly possible. And that's the way you can win 3v1s in Elden Ring, because there's a lot of ranged options, there's a lot of zoning, and there's a lot of spell spamming and a lot of weapon art spamming. But 1 in 10 invasions, you will get the chance to not die in 5 seconds and evolve. So my suggestion is you should pack a bubble tier in your mixed physic, the one that converts non-physical damage to health when it comes to invasions. And just go for it, just try to pressure them, and there's like, don't feel bad if you're dying or something, right? Because the point of the invader is to die. I mean, the invader is supposed to be there just to die, just to make the host and the party feel better for themselves. I mean, the main reason that the invasions, the only way you can invade is in this game is to have a phantom in the world. So it means that the invader is at a disadvantage. Some would argue that the advantage of the invader is the PvE, and that is correct on some occasions. I mean, if you invade them mid-fight with an overland boss, or if they're in a difficult area with a lot of enemies, yeah, the invader does have the advantage there. Although the massive monsters, the big ones, can hit the invader too. But then again, you still do have the advantage, and then you can pressure the party and just kill them when you find the chance. And after having said all that, still the best way to win invasions is just using a bleed build right now, as of patch 1.03. And I mean about meta invasions at least. Just use seppuku on a scavenger's curved sword, or pikes, or naginaras, or anything with a reach, and just spam running L1s, and that's it. You're gonna win every invasion you get in, like no contest. And this can, whatever you see in this video, whatever invasion you see in this video, this is not optimal. The build is not optimal. My playstyle is not optimal. My reactions are garbage, because I'm not even a good invader. I'm not even a good PvPer. All I do is just take advantage of gimmicks, and I'm just trying to adapt my playstyle to the current meta, because I really dislike bleed builds. I don't find them any attractive at all, despite all the damage and despite all the damage potential and all the pressure potential. I don't enjoy playing bleed builds, and I don't enjoy playing like dexterity weapons. So whatever you see here, don't get fooled. This isn't optimal. This is just a guy having fun and trying to just do his own thing, and I think you should try to do that too, except using colossal weapons, because colossal weapons suck. I mean, literally suck. Colossal weapons suck in this game, and because they are very punishable. They just get whiff punished a lot. The only thing you can do with a colossal is just spam bloodhound step with its Vi and just do a poke. That's it. That's it. Literally, that's the only thing you can do with a colossal weapon. And I think that they will be patched. I think that something will be done with them. I'm really, really hopeful that something will be done with them, because it's a shame that like, it's not only the colossal weapons, like, it's the axes too. The axes, the great axes, the clubs, the great clubs. I mean, all these weapons suck for PvP. They literally suck for PvP. They don't have any pressure potential. The weapon arts that they get are not even that good. I mean, what's your problem, Tanimura? What problem do you have with those weapons? I try to use those weapons, you know. I really try to, because I really like axes. I have a thing for axes. I found the Highlander's axe, and I tried to use it in some way that it would be useful. But no, there's everything is punishable. You have no reach. It's really slow, and there's just no reason to use anything else than a bleed build, or you just suffer, right? Or something. You just use something with reach. So that's what I did. I just used the halberd because it has a lot of reach. This particular halberd has a really great moveset for all catching, and that's why I use the Storm Stomp to just do catch flame and then roll catch them with a halberd, and it's just like one stomp, one catch flame, and then 2 or 3 roll catches and they're dead. And I really tried to use something else, but I found that I did not enjoy that at all. Oh, more Homo sapiens at their katanas. What a surprise. So yeah, like I was saying, just try to do your own thing if you want to have fun, and if you're finding that you don't enjoy and that you're losing invasions, just go for a bleed build and that's it. You're gonna win each and every invasion you get in, as long as you know what you're doing and you're not just there spamming L2. But you're not gonna understand how the PvP in this game works. I'm promising you that you're not going to understand that. And you're not going to understand that if you're just watching videos of other people playing and trying to imitate that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, right? You can learn a lot from other people. But you should also try to do stuff for yourself. You should also try to improvise and create your own combos and your own mix-ups and your own setups and your own builds. That's why I'm against builds. I'm really against builds, by the way. I think that you should try to make your own build, like following an optimal build just to use it and just to win. I don't know, it feels like an empty win, right? Like you're going to a car race and you just drive a Ferrari and everybody's driving a Honda. I don't know. But that's what I want you to take out from this video. Like I'm just a guy who's just using the most stupid build possible. I'm just using a faith build in the middle of all the bleed builds, and I'm still having success with invasions. And I think you should do that too. That's all I'm trying to say, because I don't want to see the meta evolving into L2 spam. I want people to try more things, and I think the game has a lot of potential to be something great. I mean, it's the only game that I actually press all the buttons. It's the only Souls game that I press all the buttons on my controller, and I think that's what From Software wanted you to do with this game, to try and take advantage of every move that you have, and you know, not just the L2 and the circle button. So yeah, that's the secret to winning invasions, guys. Try to create your own stuff and have fun, because the only way you can enjoy this game, and the only way the meta can survive, I think, it's if you try to enjoy it as is. And if we can hope that they'll patch some weapons and some weapon classes, like the axes, the great swords, the great axes, the great clubs, the colossal weapons, because the only viable right now for I mean, not the only viable, but the most viable weapon classes right now are halberds, because they do a ton of poise damage, are katanas and thrusting swords and spears, and that's it. That's literally it. And if the only colossal that does something, it's that can compete with the meta is like the Zwei, or some really long colossal with a poke rolling attack, so you can crouch and just use that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't ask me about my build. Just go and create your own build. Really, just do that. And if you think that you don't enjoy it that much, just create a bleed build and just spam running all once, and you're gonna enjoy the game so much. Yeah, really. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and have fun.